Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and thanks for being here. This is another timeless reading that's for somebody out there. My intention is that it will find the people it's meant for and at the right time. Now, it's definitely not intended to be for everyone, so if the storyline that emerges doesn't resonate with you, it's probably not your reading. You can still watch the whole reading because it's always an intention of mine that anyone who is drawn to one of my readings will gain something from it. That could be an insight, a piece of wisdom, or just the opportunity to see something from a different perspective. So if you happen to be here, I think you're meant to be here. Now, in today's reading, I was guided to use some starseed decks. So this reading might be for someone who resonates with being a starseed. But even if that's not the case, the message might still resonate for you. Before we start, we'll just do our love pause. This is where we pause the reading and send some love out into the universe. You can also do this as a little Ho'oponopono prayer instead, and that would involve saying the 4 sentences: thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, and please forgive me. So thanks to everyone who does this. The time to pause is now, and I'll start my reading on the next slide. Okay, so here we are with the spread that has shown up for this reading. If you're interested in the decks I've used, I'll have them listed in the description box. The card at the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. So this is the spark of inspiration appearing in your life. There's something that's shown up that you find exciting and you feel passionate about. I do tend to see the aces as the cardinal energies in their element, so I would see this as an Aries energy. Now getting on to the main spread, the card in the past position is the Justice card. And the thing that's like hitting me in the face is how extremely symmetrical this card is. So I feel like I'm already going off on a tangent here, and it's because I'm seeing tigers on this card. And I was just, with symmetry and tigers, I was just reminded of a William Blake poem called The Tiger. And he spells tiger with a Y, so Tyger. So maybe the letter Y is significant for someone here. Or perhaps William Blake's initials, W and B, or the names William or Blake. And actually W, B, and Y are the initials of another poet, William Butler Yeats. Are you a poet? I don't know. But anyway, the first verse of this Blake poem is: Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? I guess symmetry is supposed to rhyme with eye, but it doesn't really. Anyway, so it's about symmetry, it's about a tiger, but what the main point of the poem is really it's about God. So the poet is asking what inspired God to create a tiger and how was this creature created? Now, I guess my answer is that this creature, the tiger, is just like all of God's creatures. You know, it was a divine vision that was brought into being as something tangible in this world. Now, maybe this is relating to that Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Is there some kind of dream or vision that you're meant to create, that you're meant to bring into reality in this, or make it tangible, I guess? I'm not really sure where the energies of justice are coming into that at this point in time. So justice is a Libra card, and it's about fairness, the scales being balanced, the law. Now, I think Spirit would have given me this card in reverse if there was an injustice that prevented you from creating something. So I don't know that that's what it's about. Was your vision perhaps related to fairness? Was your vision to do with making the world fairer? I guess it could be. If this is a starseed reading, it's very possible we're talking about someone who had a big vision for the world. Maybe you were inspired to pursue a career in the criminal justice system. This card is just so extremely symmetrical, so balanced. So maybe you're just someone who sought balance in everything. Now, this is also a number 8 card, and the Justice card is one that does come as 8 or 11. I think in the Rider-Waite-Smith decks it's 11. So the fact that it's 8 here makes me wonder about the number 8, because that's the number that I associate with karma and reaping what you sow. It's also the infinity symbol, which to me is about how the energy you put out is what is returned to you ultimately. So we have this card in the past position. So I think balance, fairness, and justice were really important to you at a previous point in your life. And I'm now drawn to one of the oracle cards because it's also fairly symmetrical and it's got two lions on it, believe it or not. So the big cat energy is connecting these two cards as well. And it's making me think of Lyran star seeds. And this oracle deck is actually the Lyran oracle card deck, I think. I think it is, yeah. So this card also has a moon that looks very similar to the moon on that Justice card. So I do feel like these cards are related. It's not as symmetrical as the other card, but it's close. So on this card, we have a high priestess with lions around her. And the card's titled The Greater Plan, and it has the keywords acceptance, letting go, and divine perfection. So I feel like this is representing an awakening that you've had. You're now in this high priestess energy. You still think balance and fairness are important, but you've become more relaxed about it. I should also point out that the Justice card actually had snakes on it too, and I wasn't sure initially what that was about, but now I think they might be symbolizing devil energy. So I think in the past, maybe you were so insistent on everything being just right that your energy was actually a little bit toxic and controlling. So sorry to say that, but I guess you had high expectations of yourself, your environment, and the people around you, and that translated into controlling behavior, obsessive behavior perhaps. Now here on this oracle card, there are no snakes, just a priestess who's very tuned in to the divine plan. The symmetry is slightly off, but it's not problematic for you anymore. And with those keywords, I think you've come to see that even if things don't seem perfectly in balance here on Earth, there is a divine plan behind it all. The keywords are indicating that you understand that even if you don't see it in the 3D realm, there is divine perfection, that things do happen in divine order. You've accepted this and you've let go of the need to control things and fix things and make them right. You no longer feel the need to micromanage everything and everyone around you. You now have faith that God knows exactly how to handle everything. And I'm thinking back to that tiger poem where the poet was fascinated by the fact that God had imagined up and created such an animal. And he was pointing out how very striking this animal is and that none of its features could really be an accident. So just like that, you've understood that things aren't actually random, that there is an order and an intentionality to the universe. Everything that happens has a purpose. Nothing is actually random. And it's interesting that karma came up earlier. So even if you were obsessed with justice before, you now understand that even when people seem to get away with things, they don't. They will face their karmic lessons at some later point. Now, this oracle card we've been talking about is a number 7 card, and that's a very spiritual number. And the crown chakra is actually the 7th chakra. And with this high priestess energy, I feel like you have had a crown chakra activation and awakening. And the oracle card to the left of this seems to link in actually because it's also a number 7 card. It's a 43 card. And whenever I see 3 and 4 together, I think of the Empress and Emperor cards. So I do see it as indicating that your inner masculine and feminine energies have been integrated. So this card is titled Universal Heart, and that makes me think of unity consciousness, which is to do with the understanding that all living things are physical expressions of source energy. Now that also fits with the crown chakra activation because that does lead to a strong spiritual connection to spirit. So if this is you, you are someone with a lot of respect for life and all living things. This is definitely something that's taught in Hinduism, that we are meant to recognize that the divine exists in everyone and everything. And to be honest, I've always felt the golden rule is also related to this. And that's the rule where you should always treat others the way you would want to be treated. So the golden rule is about seeing others as your equals. They are not more or less than you are. And they might be operating in a low vibration, but that's just an indication that they haven't had a spiritual awakening yet. But regardless, the golden rule makes perfect sense if we're all expressions of the divine. It means that you treat others well because you recognize their divinity. But of course, it's also important that other people treat you well. Are they treating you the way they would want to be treated? And if they aren't doing this and you accept this treatment from them, then you are actually disrespecting the divinity that exists within you. Now, it's interesting that it has come up because there's another oracle card here that is titled Lifting the Veil. And really, the High Priestess is someone who does see beyond the veil. So this has got the key phrases: questioning everything and anything unaligned must go. So I feel like this might be about certain connections that you're in, people who aren't aligning with you. You've lifted the veil and you're seeing that the way these people view the world is different to the way you view the world. And I guess you've had this crown chakra activation, and so you're now operating in unity consciousness. And it's clear to you now that these people are unawakened and they're operating in separation consciousness. So they might have divinity within them, but they're not acting too divine, if you know what I mean. So I'm getting some real karmic energies now coming through, toxic competitiveness, envy, controlling or manipulative behavior, mean-spirited words or actions, selfishness, greed, stinginess, materialism, scarcity or a lack mindset, money-grabbing kind of people, shallow people, gossiping people. So there are a few different things coming through all at once. So I feel like this is talking about a few different people that are in your life. And I feel like this is about things that you're seeing in these people around you. And I'm just getting that you're finding it really off-putting now. So you're seeing these behaviors in these people and you're feeling this aversion to them, like you don't want to go near them or talk to them or spend time with them. And well, I guess that's exactly how things feel when they're unaligned. So as an example, if you've become someone who sees all people as equals, and then you overhear someone saying something awful about a particular group of people, well, you're going to find that really unpalatable and you're not going to want to be close to that person. So examples of that might be that they're saying negative or disparaging things about women or people of a certain race or sexual orientation or people who are poor or people who are homeless. And so you hear someone say something horrible like that about that group of people and your insides just go, ugh, that's a horrible thing to say. So it's really off-putting to you. And these people just don't align with you anymore. And the message on this card is that anything unaligned must go. So this could also be a job that doesn't align anymore. Maybe you've had your awakening and you just don't want to work in a particular industry anymore. And I just thought of the insurance industry. It just popped into my mind. So, how they collect people's premiums for years, and then when that person tries to claim, they'll try and look for all these loopholes to avoid paying out on that claim. And when you think about an industry, that's quite a soulless industry if it's operating in that way. But that's just an example. So you could work in a particular industry and now you're like, ugh, I just can't do this kind of work anymore. It's so horrible. Or it might be that the nature of your work is that you're dealing with horrible people all the time and you just can't do it anymore. So the guidance is that you have to let these attachments go. And I don't even think you can try to tolerate them anymore because they're completely off-putting to you now. And I'm now drawn to how the card says anything aligned must go. Like the word must is a really strong word. So those unaligned things are really unpalatable is what I'm getting. Maybe the person you were would have tried to accommodate these kinds of things, but the person you are now, you just can't. You can't do it. It would be like trying to sit down and make yourself eat something that smells like it's gone off. And the feeling is, look, I'd rather not eat at all than to eat this. Even being near this plate is making me feel sick. Yeah, so anything unaligned is not going to work anymore. And the thing is that these people might have aligned with you before your awakening, because I was getting that thing earlier that you might have had some controlling traits in the past. Maybe you did have some of these other toxic traits as well. So you were like that at one point in time, and maybe that's how you attracted these people, like there was an alignment with those people. But now that you've had this awakening, it's just so off-putting to you. And I guess the thing that comes through there is that even if you're put off by certain people now, you were just like that at some point. And if you can grow and change, then they can as well. So I'm getting from that you shouldn't be too harsh in judging them. You were once unawakened too, and they might also wake up at some point. So even if you feel the need to get away from them and that's something that you have to do, try not to hold on to any harsh judgments with respect to those people. It really is just awakened versus unawakened. The divine is still there inside them. Those people just haven't been activated yet. Um, I think you should get away from them though, because some of these unaligned people might actually be people who might harm you. I mean, if these are bullies or people who are envious of you or people who are competing with you and wanting to take you down, it's really not in your best interests to maintain contact. You're better off moving away, getting a different job or finding a new place to live or whatever. These aren't people who are wishing you well, so it's not a good idea to keep them close. The less they see you, the better. The less they know about you, the better. And I guess it might be that you have to isolate yourself a little bit for a little while. You might have to keep to yourself and to keep things to yourself. And to be honest, it's never a good idea to overshare anyway, because people don't need to know everything about you. And I feel like this is heading into some darker territory, this reading, but I guess we're being led there. I'm getting that you need to think hard about what you share with others. If it's stuff that's going to make other people envious, don't share it. If it's stuff that your enemies could use against you, don't share it. If it's about your future plans, understand that your enemies could try and mess with those plans if they happen to know what they are. So yeah, this is saying that if you have a bad feeling about someone, get as far out of their zone as you can and off their radar as much as possible. And don't even say too much to people who you're close to, because they might quite innocently share that with other people. And then word gets back to those people who are not your friends. So yeah, I think this is coming through as a time to be a bit defensive. Knowledge is power, and you don't want to hand that power to people who don't have good intentions when it comes to you. It is sad that this is coming through, but stay smart and stay safe. I just got street smart in my head. So yeah, oh excuse me. Yeah, that's an expression that is about trusting your instincts. We're talking about your survival instincts. And now I'm blown away because look at the solitary energy of the person in the second tarot card. So that's the card in the present position. So this person has retreated into the woods and they're wearing this dark cloak, this black cloak. Their focus is on this orb that they're holding. That's the guidance. You're being guided to retreat and get away from people. That orb is leading you in that direction, away from people. You're being asked to cloak yourself so people don't see you. And I just got cloaking spell in my head. I swear I've been surrounded by witchy energy ever since I did that witchy reading. I think it was 2 readings ago. But anyway, I don't know if Spirit is telling me that I am a witch. Oh my God. I just got Hagrid saying, "You're a wizard, Harry." I get a lot of Harry Potter when I'm channeling, it seems. But anyway, what I'm going to say is that a cloaking spell is probably something that is very doable. And I've been told that spell work is really just putting an intention into words. And I guess to manifest something, you have to visualize it. So all the spells I've come across in books and movies have been things that rhymed. We did have poet energy before. So if you're poetic, that might come easily to you. I'm not sure I'm poetic enough to come up with something that rhymes. But then again, I and symmetry don't really rhyme. So if William Blake didn't have to make it rhyme, then we don't have to make it rhyme either. So anyway, yeah, getting back to this, you could just formulate a sentence that encapsulates your intentions, that it's your wish that you remain hidden from your enemies and unseen by them, and that their desire for information about you goes unrealized and you become a complete mystery to them. And then you can visualize this. Maybe it's a scene just like the one in this image. You're in the woods and you're wearing a cloak that makes you hard to see or identify. Actually, I just got Harry Potter again. He had an invisibility cloak. So that's a better visualization. You're wearing a cloak that makes you invisible to anyone who has harmful intentions towards you. And then you can say your words, your spell, and I think you're supposed to end it with an "and so it is." I've heard witches do that. I think I might be a witch, guys. I might have to start working on my poetic abilities next. Oh well, back to the reading. that orb of light that you're holding and looking at is your guidance. And you are in this high priestess energy. So, it is your guidance. We have an oracle card here titled Guidance. It has the key phrases: inner compass, support, and trust your guidance. I just can't believe how well all these cards are fitting together. I love the readings when this happens. It's just one of the highlights of reading tarot cards. But yeah, the image on this card is blowing me away because you know how you've got that orb of light that you're holding and looking at, and maybe that orb of light is actually the light at the end of this unicorn's horn. So this is a unicorn that you happen to be riding. You may not be aware of it, but you're riding a unicorn. You're traveling on a unicorn's back. And when you follow this light, this guidance that you're getting, you're actually trusting the unicorn to carry you safely to your destination. I think this world often teaches us to ignore our inner guidance, but that inner compass exists to serve us. It's exactly like that street smarts thing that I was talking about before. Your instincts will keep you safe, but you have to start trusting them. So forget what the world has taught you. Stop ignoring your instincts and start trusting them. So if you've been friends with someone for 40 years, but you're now feeling like there's something off about them, you need to trust that instinct. The fact that you've known them for 40 years is irrelevant. Your awakening might have made you more sensitive and more perceptive than you were before. Maybe there are things about them that you didn't see before that you're now seeing. I'm thinking back to how you can't eat that meal that smells off. Maybe in the past you could eat something spoiled because your sense of smell was that poor. But now you can smell, basically. If something smells off, don't eat it. Even if it's being served up by someone you've trusted for 40 years. No, just no, don't do it. Get out of their zone, get off their radar, put on your invisibility cloak. If they feel off, avoid them. And this reading keeps blowing my mind because the card in the future position is the King of Swords. So this is the king that sees things very clearly. He's not someone who can be fooled. So this is you, your perception, your judgment, your discernment. It's all spot on. You need to start trusting yourself. If there are people you used to trust and now you're being told, danger, Will Robinson, you need to start trusting yourself. And you know what I got? The name William has actually come up 3 times now. So maybe there's someone called William that you're being warned about. That's very specific. And I was actually going to finish the reading here, but because it seemed like I had all the cards covered. But I just looked at the spread and I realized we have the Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and we never really got into that too much. I do normally see this as a good card, but this has felt like a darker energy in a lot of ways, a darker reading in a lot of ways. And so I'm wondering if this is about someone who is obsessed with you. That's not good. Like, are you their Ace of Wands? Like, are they obsessed with you? I don't like it. I feel like I want to go pull an extra card, or maybe even 2, just for clarification or guidance. I'll show you what comes up on the next slide. So I just recorded the audio for that last side, and it was exactly 22 minutes and 22 seconds. I don't know if 22 or number 2 means something to you. I just thought I'd say it. So I went upstairs to where all my cards are, and I pulled an extra card. I already knew which deck I was going to go to. Now, before I pulled it, I was feeling so heavy in my chest from the darkness of those energies that were coming through. So I felt guided to light a candle, and that really helped. And then I felt like I wanted to burn something. So what I did was I found a small piece of paper and I wrote the words toxic energetic connections on it, and then I burned it. I watched the paper shrivel up and blacken as it burned, and then the flame died when all the paper was burned. I then poured the ashes into the sink and they crumbled as they landed, and then I turned the tap on to wash that ash down the drain. And do you know what? That actually felt like a really witchy thing to do. And it felt good. I am a witch. But in my mind's eye, it was all those thick, gnarly, ugly, energetic cords that were incinerated and reduced to crumbly ash and then washed away, all gone. It felt good. So anyway, if you feel guided to do this, you might want to do this. Be fire safe though. That was a message that came through in the last reading. You have to respect fire. So I did my burning in the bathroom over the sink. And while I was at it, I decided I would also, seeing as I was being guided down this path, I felt that I should also do a cloaking spell. So I gave that a go. I gave it a good red hot go. Why not, right? Again, if you feel guided to do this, do it. Okay, getting back to the slide. This is our extra card. It's from a guardian angel deck. Who better to ask for guidance with regard to protection than your guardian angels? This was the deck I was guided to go to right from the start. And the thing is that this is a really sweet deck. Like all the cards in it are really sweet. And that was interesting to me as well, because I had those dark, heavy energies weighing on me, and I felt guided to pull a deck that was all light and sweetness. And I think that was Spirit saying that the antidote to darkness is the light. So whenever you feel like the darkness is getting to you, remember that. Light a candle like I did. It did make me feel better. Other things you can do are to put on some nice music or watch something that's light and fluffy like a rom-com, something that cheers you up. So yeah, the antidote to darkness is the light. So bring more light into your space. Okay, so let's just introduce this card. It's purple for a start, so it's related to the crown chakra again. And I also just got purple heart because of the shape of this and the color of this. And the Purple Heart is a military medal. I think it's an American military medal, and it's given to people who are wounded or killed in combat, or given to their families if they're killed in combat. And now I'm actually thinking back to that new moon in Pisces reading, which is the one where we had to be careful with fire. Same reading. But in that reading, we had the death card, and someone was badly injured from dealing with toxic individuals. And today is the new moon in Pisces. So I did that previous reading for the new moon in Pisces, and I'm actually doing this reading on the new moon in Pisces date. So I feel like this reading could well relate to that one. And Purple Heart, I'm just getting, because purple is the color of spirit, so I'm getting that you are a spiritual warrior and you're being honored at this new moon. You're being recognized for your commitment and your courage. Wow. I'm getting choked up. Wow. Okay. Now, the message on the card, which is the whole reason I pulled this card. Let's get back to it. This is one of the prayer cards in the deck. So there's a whole lot of cards with other subheadings on them, keywords on them. But there's a handful of them that are prayer cards, and this is one of them. It reads, Dear Guardian Angel, help me to believe that all is possible through love. Help me manifest my dreams and live an inspiring and fulfilling life. Help me to feel God's presence in every moment. Help me feel eternally loved. Thank you for always being by my side. Isn't that so sweet? I told you it was a sweet deck. But anyway, in terms of what I'm getting from this message, it is saying that you should always operate from a place of love, because love is the highest and greatest energy. So if people have hurt you, remember how you were saying, don't hold on to harsh judgments. I think you do have to be loving and forgive them. That's not to say you let them back into your life or trust them again. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't hate them. Just try and release it. Okay, release it to God. So forgive them, and that's just to set yourself free so that you can move on. That would be the most loving thing to do in this kind of scenario. So love is the highest and greatest energy. So that's the energy you should aspire to be in at all times. Now, there are words here that relate to manifesting your dreams, and that is taking me back to the Ace of Wands in the main spread, because I left that spread feeling like, was that Ace of Wands talking about someone else's obsession? And it could be. But these words here are making me feel like Spirit is saying, what inspires you is much more important than what's going on with someone else. Whatever they're being inspired by, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, but focus on what inspires you. Don't let anything or anyone stop you from pursuing your dreams. Don't let anyone stop you from leading a fulfilling life. Then we have this reminder that God is always with us. And that reminds me of the line, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. I think that's Psalm 23 in the Bible. So yeah, there might be some creepy, unhinged people out there, but don't let yourself become afraid. Hold on to your faith that God is with you and God loves you and your guardian angel is always with you and they're there to protect you. So do ask for angelic assistance if ever you start feeling anxious about anything. Call them whenever you need to. Whenever you're anxious, choose faith over fear. And as I said before, the antidote to the darkness is the light. So do things that bring more light into your immediate surroundings. And wow, I just looked up and saw a rainbow on the TV set. So my TV, it's not actually switched off at the moment, but it has this kind of screensaver thing where it just rotates through different images randomly. And in this image, the landscape is dry. And so I feel like the rainbow is representing hope and blessings coming in at a time when we might be feeling like those things have been absent in our lives. I always think of miracles too with rainbows. And seeing that image as I conclude this reading, I feel like Spirit wanted to show up and give us a sign that we're not to lose hope and that there are blessings coming. So stay strong and stay committed to your dreams. Whatever your Ace of Wands is, that is what you should focus on. Try to see all the other crazy things that go on as noise and distraction. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal of the low vibrational entities out there. They want to stop people from ascending, from succeeding, and from shining. They want to get you and trap you and wrap you up in their vines so that you get stuck down there with them. So I guess we just need to say, yeah, F that. I'm not doing that. I'm moving on up. Oh, moving on up, moving on out. It's time to break free. Nothing can stop me. Who's saying that? I think it was the M people. Was it the M people? Yeah, I think so. I just paused and Googled it, and yes, it's the M people. And the lyrics are actually perfect for everything that's going on in this reading. So that's definitely going on the playlist. Thank you, Spirit. And I just got another Harry Potter scene, seriously. So this is a scene, I think it's from the same movie, the first movie, I think. But the kids are being strangled by a plant called Devil's Snare, and it's a vine. How fitting is that name, though, Devil's Snare? And the way to escape Devil's Snare is either to relax completely, as if it doesn't bother you at all, or to shine a bright light. And it's a light that's so bright that the vine shrinks away from it. And Hermione actually, she demonstrates both techniques in that scene because she relaxes in order to escape the vine. She gets Harry to relax and he's able to escape the vine. But Ron is freaking out. So she frees Ron by creating light, a really bright light. And that was necessary because Ron wasn't relaxing. He was freaking out. How very interesting. And yes, we do watch Harry Potter movies here a lot. But anyway, the message is don't worry about what other people are up to and shine your light brightly. One of the best ways to protect yourself from lower vibrational energies is to get your vibration really high, because then this is going to put you out of their reach. So if you let them affect you, then you really are handing your power over to them. And I was just about to call that reading off, but I got pulled back to the new moon in Pisces reading. This is like a reading that's not going to end. But the reason I got pulled back to the new moon in Pisces reading is because of that Ace of Wands. So the new moon in Pisces reading that I did, it was about the rebirth of the Queen of Fire, the Queen of Wands. And while the Queen of Wands is someone who always goes after what inspires her, she's someone who would be like, well, duh, why would I do anything else? Of course I'm going to go after what inspires me. If I did anything else, that wouldn't be living. You know, she's very passionate. She's driven by passion. She's driven by inspiration. And if my reading was saying that the Queen of Fire is being reborn at this new moon, and the Ace of Wands has shown up today on the new moon date, I think you might be the Queen reborn. So get to it. The Ace of Wands has shown up. Get to it. And the other thing I was reminded of with the Ace of Wands is that this is cardinal fire energy to me, and that's Aries. I also see the Queen of Wands as Aries energy. And that all led me to remember that I was watching a Molly McCord astrology video the other day, and she was talking about how activated the 0 degree point of Aries is right now. So this is the very beginning of the zodiac wheel. You know, it's like the Fool card in tarot. It's the absolute beginning. It's 0 degrees of the first sign of the zodiac. It's talking about the birth of a new cycle. And it's being repeatedly activated over a period of time. So the North Node has just crossed the 0 degree Aries point. Of course, it goes backwards, so it's gone into Pisces. The Sun's going to hit this point, which will mark the start of Aries season, the March equinox, the astrological new year. Mercury, Venus, Neptune, and Saturn, all in Pisces currently, will all cross the 0 degrees Aries point, and then they're all going to retrograde back at some point over this point, back into Pisces, and then they're going to cross the 0 degree point a third time as they go direct and move through Aries. So lots of times this point is being activated. I think Molly also mentioned a few other significant aspects. I can't honestly remember all of it. I might try and find the video and link it in the comments for those of you who are interested, because it was a fascinating video. I might actually go and watch it again myself. Some things are definitely worth a second watch, aren't they? So the rebirth of the Queen of Fire could well be linked to this 0 degree point of Aries being activated repeatedly. It's about a new beginning, a new cycle, and this is cardinal fire energy. So you need to get going on whatever your passion is, whatever it is that's inspiring you. Because I'm seeing that 0 degree point being repeatedly activated as like Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands. Are you listening? Are you getting it? Like the universe is trying to get a message through to you repeatedly. Ace of Wands. So come on, people, it's time to get to work on making your dreams reality. The Queen of Fire wouldn't mess around if she saw the Ace of Wands. She'd be going for it. There's no way she wouldn't. And here we are on our last slide. So one more thing that came up. Again, it's this new moon in Pisces. But there was a card in that spread that talked about affirmations. So new moons are a time to set intentions, and I feel like it's really important this time. You are starting a new cycle. It's a completely new beginning for you. I think you need to set some intentions that honor this rebirth that you're experiencing. Set some affirmations that will reinforce that this is a new incarnation that you're stepping into. You know, these affirmations need to remind you basically that you are now a different person. And you need to read them every day, I think, during this period where 0 degrees of Aries is being repeatedly activated. These are your intentions for the future you want, the future that you are co-creating with the universe. I feel like this is really important, so please do it right. Okay, I'm going to end this reading at some point, eventually, I swear. Okay, I'm ending it now. So as always, the decks are listed in the description box, and this is the case for all my readings, even the older ones. There are Amazon links next to some of the decks, and those are affiliate links, so you can use the links to purchase the decks if you want to. And if you do, I might qualify for a small commission. If you're wanting to buy the decks, there's some extra information in the description box. And the link should take you to your local Amazon site so that you still get all your shipping deals and all that sort of stuff. Right, so thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. I feel like there were some tips that came through on how we can look after ourselves and protect ourselves at this time. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if you feel guided to. Thanks to everyone who has already subscribed. I'm so grateful for your support. And that's it. Take care, everyone. I hope I'll see you all in a future video. Bye.